Howdy peeps, and welcome back to the channel. So, what has the old git got for you today? Well, today I will be having a quick look through the box for the Tamiya 1/20th McLaren Honda MP4 as it says on the box. I can't remember, 1992 car. When it comes around to building it, I'll probably do the Senna version, just because the guy's a legend, possibly the greatest of all time. I believe, according to the outer labelling, that 2014, although that remains to be confirmed. You never can tell really. And it's a cover-up price ticket. It's a very smart looking box, no flashy artwork, and I do like it. It looks professional, probably the wrong term to use, but it looks right. I'm led to believe it's got all the correct sponsorship in it, and this is past tobacco ban, so we should be okay with that. So what do we get in the box? Well, we got our instruction booklet, or in this case gatefold sheet, and a bunch of plastic. I don't think there's any etch with this. So without further ado, let's start looking at what we get a bit closer. Put the box out of the way. Make sure you tune in and watch. Friday nights, 7:30 UK time. Good laugh, you'll always pick up something new. And again, congratulations to all the guys from ISM, the bench crew, the people who are watching, people who donated kits, made cash donations, bid for the kits. Fantastic night with the Model for Heroes thing. Charity supporting former and current servicemen and women that have PTSD or other issues. And as we all know, modelling is a great, not cure, but it helps big time if you're suffering any kind of mental conditions, depression, anything like that, because it just takes you away from all of it and you're concentrating on something you have control of. But yeah, that night was last Friday before last. I think it was £2,200 raised. So again, congratulations everyone, great job. Also, make sure you check out ISM on Facebook and the forum, inscalemodeler.com. Ultimate modelling products for most, if not all, of your needs. Anything they don't have, Martin at air-craft.net. And also Styrene Syndicate and Red Dragon Model Works. And congrats Gil for your third place in the Model World Expo. Perhaps now you'll start believing us when we tell you you're really damn good. Yeah, such a humble guy, such a good guy as well. Congrats again Gil, well deserved. Anyway, enough of the... Yep, it's that time of year again. There goes another... Is that a tornado? I think it might be. There's a pair of them. Make that 3. Yeah. Oh, the joys of being on the Lake and Heath flight path. Anyway, so instructions, the usual bit of bump about the car. Go away, hairy planes. It's what for tanks, they don't come flying over your house. If they do, it's the last thing you'll know about it. A bit of bump in English, German, French, and probably Japanese, I'm guessing. Onto the warnings. Don't eat it, don't use it as a sex aid, don't, all that kind of stuff. Your basic tool required, your colour call outs, The only one that could cause problems is unless you can get a can of it, because it's only available I think in the rattle cans, unless you go zero or gravity, but they're really hot lacquer paints. They are just car paints. So it's going to be the TS36 fluorescent red. That's going to be the only tricky one. The rest of them are just white or metallic. Yeah. Anyway, F1 cars, so they can't get away with doing a curbside model. So we start out with the 3 litre V12 engine. We're looking at Tamiya here, so it's going to go together fairly easily, fall together pretty much, shake and bake. And I really don't like these instruction manuals. The engine and gearbox, rear suspension mounts on, as it would on a real F1 car. Go away phone. Building up more of the, so you've got the rear hubs, intake going on. Then nose cone, wing, suspension, and onto the seat, the belts, and the main forward part of the monocoque. This has actually probably got more parts to the main body than the actual real thing has. Then adding the upper bodywork to the lower monocoque, a few decals going on. Front push rods and dampers going in, front uprights, a steering arm, a little diagram to show you which way around it all goes. Rads going in, steering wheel, ECU, all that kind of stuff. Front wing end plates and end fences going on. Not chassis, it's the floor plate, floor pan, no. It's got a poncy name. I think they might just call it the floor, but yeah. With the rear diffuser built into it. And the engine, the pipes, wheels and tyres, brakes, wheels and tyres going on. Rear wing being put together. It looks to be pretty much one piece, which is superb if it is. Save a lot of faffing about. Then the main upper part of the body, yeah, I'm in shot. Painting instructions, side panels going in, mirrors going on, body going on from the bottom, and your decal callouts, which are pretty much going to be the same apart from the number and the name. So centers will probably have a 1 on it, and I can't remember what number Gerhard Berger was off the top of my head. So it was 92. I would have been at college at the time, which is why I can't necessarily remember it perfectly. I think you can forgive me for that, can't you? Bear in mind I struggle to remember yesterday most of the time. Anyways, on to the plastics. First up, Tamiya staples again, but they're awkward and annoying, and pulling them out of the bag is a pig. I always get rid of a staple, chuck it in the bin before I take the parts out of the bag, because then the staples can't scratch the parts. So we have a sprue with what looks to have the front and rear hubs, front and rear suspension, and the wheels on. Again, I'll say it again, I just started. Typical Tamiya moulding, Balls is a 2014 kit, copyright 92. So we're looking at a 25-year-old kit. Hell, yeah, 92, damn. So this actually came out the year that the car was still running, which is quite impressive. And given that it's that age, there is no flash on there at all. nothing at all, at all. No mould lines, mould seams really that I can see on any of the dampers or springs. Doesn't matter if there's one in the middle of the wheel because the tyre covers all that. And the only ejector marks are in places where you're never going to see them. And they're very shallow as well, which is really good to find. I just built the Meng D9R and yeah, there are some issues with not ejector pin marks with the raised ones where there's a stub left behind. Just trimming some of those off. Most of them weren't an issue, just a quick snip, but there were a few where they were on the inside of working hydraulic rams, which means it doesn't work unless you clean it out. The one clear or two clear parts, I'm not going to bother getting them out because it's a piddly little front windscreen and the rear light. That's it, the rain light. If you don't know, Formula 1 cars, no brake lights, no headlights. The only light they have is the rear rain light, which flashes when it's raining. Because the amount of spray these things kick up, you can't see it otherwise. No, let's go with this one next, which is the front lower tub and rear wing. This is looking very nicely moulded, I have to say. Where'd that staple go? Get out of it. Get out of it. Oh, there's another one. Get it, get it. Tamiya, just use it. If you're going to use non-sealing bags, just fold it over with a bit of tape. Just as quick as staples. Probably is about the same price. It just means you won't get moaned at by modelers so much. Now, I have cleaned my hands, so I'm okay to handle white plastic, and unfortunately it probably will white out. Not a huge amount of detail, but there isn't on a Formula 1 car, and it is all very, very nice and crisp, and tiny little wispy bits of flash in some of the areas, and there's a slight mould line there, but nothing you're not going to be able to sand out with real ease. There's another slight seam across the side of the nose, although knowing Tamiya, it wouldn't surprise me, because there's another one there, wouldn't surprise me if they were masking lines. Yeah, there's a bit of clean up needed around the nose. And ejector pin marks on the underside of the front wing, you can fill them quite easily, but who's going to see them when it's sat on the shelf? And the rear wing, yeah, again, beautiful piece of injection moulding. So Tamiya, no, they should be, they've had enough experience at it. They do mould some beautiful plastic. And there are other companies with kits that are a lot more complex, and hundreds more parts, but the moulding is nowhere near as good. I mean, that's the reason we say about Tamiya is shake and bake, is they're kind of the bench standard. Tamiya and Bandai. Because they're just the best at moulding plastic. I mean, as I say, this is a 25-year-old mould. I've seen newer kits that are 2 or 3 years old with 100 times the flash on. They just use better moulds. Same with Bandai. I mean, you can cut a Gundam hand, Gundam robot, mobile suit, whatever they want to call it. You can cut that off the sprue as one piece, and it's got workable joints in it. Yeah. And some companies struggle to mould a piece of flat plastic. Anyway, this sprue has the floor pan, cockpit sub, monocoque, seat, engine cowling, and engine and gearbox parts. And again, superb moulding. And this thing is Tamiya, so it will go together like a dream. Detail is beautifully crisp and clean. It'll pick out washes and you'll be able to highlight. For example, if I bring it up on the rocker covers, you can see the Honda badge and logo. You'll be able to pick that out in a different colour and it will stand out. And the seat, I mean, okay, moulded in seat belts, but I've not really seen better moulded in seat belts, let's be honest. And the underside, yes, we've got some ejector pin marks in places, but none of that is going to be visible. The only ones that might be those two up there on the back of the diffuser, but they could well be under the wishbones. Knowing Tamiya, they probably are. So yeah, very nicely moulded. And the last real sprue is the main body, the brakes, rads, exhausts and other body panels, and the funky little Tamiya wrench to do the wheel nuts up with. I think that's what it is. It looks exactly like it does in a bunch of other stuff I've built over the years. Yeah, again, can't fault the moulding, beautifully clean and crisp. I mean, that body is beautiful. I'm not sure whether they're like mould lines, seamless, because they're really faint. I mean, I can barely see them. Or whether they're masking lines. Let's have another look at the instructions. Have a look at the paint guide. Let's see if they actually are. There's it running across. No, that's actually a panel line. It's actually a panel line, and it's so fine. I mean, it's raised, but so fine you can barely feel it. It's one of those where if you leave it and it shows up through the paint, are people going to go, "You missed the panel, missed the seam line"? Or if you sand it out, are people going to go, "You sanded out a seam line, it should be there"? Like the top of the spine of a BF109, where you do the best you can to get rid of the seam line along there, and then find out they should have a seam line along there. If you leave it, people will go. Some people say, "Well done for leaving it." Other people will go, "You didn't fix it." You know, this way of the world, I guess. But again, with this, I mean, yes, the body looks slightly iffy on the underside, but that's not going to be seen. And the barge boards do have ejector pin marks on them. One's proud and one's recessed, but they're easy enough to get to and clean up. Exhausts have got a bit of not flash seam lines running around the edges of them, but again easy enough to clean up with a ultimate sander. Ka-ching! My new favourite one is the 400/600 grit, that is. Gets rid of the seam lines real quick and doesn't leave any scratches. Well, micro scratches, but you can't actually see them. Yeah, that's all looking stunning. Gotta say, I'm looking forward to building this. Well, it's probably going to be a while. Next we get another, this time a heat sealed bag. Why Tamiya? Dig out a knife. Try not to cut myself because this is a bit of a weird shaped bag. Excuse me. Bit of wind. Pop out a front and a rear tyre. I'm guessing they all look the same. Not all shiny, and there is the seam line down the middle, but that, again, that will be fairly easy to deal with a bit of sanding. Pretty darn stiff as well, which is good. And there's no maker's name or dimensions moulded in, but that's just painted onto the real thing anyway. And then we have in a little bag 4 tiny wheel nut bolts. I'll bring them right up close, you can see. Little hex head bolts, which is what that little spanner moulded onto the screw is for. And again with Tamiya, that bolt or that bolt head will be the same size probably as, scale wise, as the nuts they use to hold the real ones on. So no worries about overscale screw heads sticking out anywhere. We have the usual bump about cautions on stretching sprue, to only use polystyrene sprue, not ABS. I'm not going to be stretching any sprue with this kit anyway. And again, why oh why would you put staples in a bag? Oh, at least I've got the decals in a bag. Careful with these ones. Being a car kit, the surface and the finish is the important bit. So we don't want to mess up the decals. First we have the Goodyear Eagle decals for the tyres. I don't know whether these are the rub-on ones or water slide reversed ones. It looks like water slide reverse, as the writing's all backwards, so it's cut it out, dunk it in water, wait a few seconds, flip it and put it on the models. It's the right way around. And we have the main, all the markings. As you can see, unlike modern Formula 1 cars, there's a lot less markings on them. But decals say 2014, so that's where the date on the box comes from. It had a new decal sheet. Now they are marked as Tamiya decals. They do feel a bit thick, but they don't look too bad. There's not a lot of carrier film on them. There's not that many to go on there, so we should be okay. Give it a good coat of clear after we painted it, and before we get to polishing it, and we should be sorted. That's perfectly in register. That's just a bit thick. We never know, we'll get them off the carrier film, they may behave themselves superbly. Bit of nuclear strength solver set on them, they might go down beautifully and you don't know they're there. So that is what we get in the box for the Tamiya. Oh god, I've made that mistake again of putting all the bits back into the lid, and now I'm going to have to take them all out again to put the lid back in shot. Ta-da! The Tamiya Senna Burger McLaren Honda MP4 7. Straight-ish, there we go. Line it up with the bottom of the camera, there we are. Looks a stunning kit. It should fall together. It's just whether my painting skills can do the job, do it justice. We shall find out when I get round to building it. And that'll do for now. I can't believe it's taken me that long to go through that quick, smaller kit. So I shall say fairly well, see you later. Build a model, have some fun. No drama please. We're all in this to just have a laugh. Rock on. Bye bye.